today I'm glad to be sitting here with my buddy Jim. Jim, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right, and he's an old-time breeder. Excellent birds. I flew his birds for some years. Very satisfied. So we're gonna just do an interview with Jim, talk about some of his experience, some of his opinions on his roller pigeons and things like that. So Jim, tell me, how long have you been in the birds?
Well, I had bird started out when I was 4 years old. It was a bird that fell out of a palm tree.
Right.
Okay, hand fed it, and that went good. And then I started all my life, just different birds. I've had every kind of bird you can think of at one time or another.
Right.
Until when I seen the roller, things changed.
Hey, I heard that a lot about the roller pigeons. Once you really see a roller pigeon, it has kind of an effect on you.
Well, most people, when I first started, they think a tumbler is a roller.
Right.
When they finally see what a real roller is, a big difference.
Yeah.
Wow, rollers are different from spinners. Spinners is the real thing.
Right. So you talked about the tumblers. I remember when I was little, I got them up, and they'd actually just tumble. So that's one, and they were fun to watch, and they're real colorful. But then I actually got into the roller. I saw the roller. Now, you mentioned spinner. So you're telling me there's a difference between the roller and the spinner? Elaborate on that.
Well, a roller stays at the same speed and drops at a regular depth. Okay. A spinner actually kind of floats as it spins. So you actually have more revolutions before the drop. As a regular roller, that these guys, most people want to call as rollers,
right.
They're not spinners. Those are just rollers. Even if they can get a tight ball, if they don't have that's more of the spin before the drop.
Oh, all right. And see, that's good because I haven't had nobody explain it that way. So you're saying they'll hold in air and spin, and then they'll start to drop.
Yeah, you have a lot of revolutions going on as it's dropping, but a good roller, still a good roller, it just drops quicker like a rock.
I got you.
Okay, it's not floating.
Yeah. So then the spinner then is the one we're trying to really get. Everybody's looking for a good spinner.
Well, the old time a spinner was a bird who broke the hole. Then you had the tight balls, so there's a big difference. Right? People say they like the ball roller because most of them can't roll a bird who rolls a hole, and that's a longer casted bird that nobody wants to breed no more.
Yeah, and I know back in the day, it was some birds that I had gotten from you through Tom Williams, and I called it the perfect roll because it threw that hole. And I mean, I don't care what angle you looked at it, it had that perfect, and it floated, but it was a little longer cast, black and white, pearl. I remember the bird like I have it now. In fact, I would die to have those birds. I don't care if the tail's a little long.
That would come back if they breed a little bit longer casted bird. And everybody said, "Oh no, those ain't no good. They're not as fast as the small bird." Well, a small bird is only fast as the speed that's behind it. So if you have a bigger bird and he has a faster velocity than that smaller bird, I don't care how great that boat is. If you can put that same velocity in that big bird in the small bird, yes, it would be smaller. But a lot of times, their big birds are faster than most of the guys' smaller birds because the velocity is not in the birds that you see today.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Right. So you talked about velocity. So Jim, when you talk about velocity, is it a way? And this is what a lot of people want to know. Is it a way that you could breed velocity into your birds?
It takes a long time. You usually have to have it already. The old timers bred that. But a lot of guys did so much crossing and stuff that sometimes they'll get the high velocity back, but it's only because they got the vitality and stamina of the outcrossings now.
Right.
So, but as soon as they go to inbreed, back they're usually gone. You don't know what you're going to get. See, the sad part is everybody has good birds.
Right.
Okay, but the mating the same is understanding that very much because before in our days the apple body bird was the one that rolled it. That's what they picked. But there's lots of other body types that spin just as beautiful. But that's why it's so important to put the same type to the same type.
Right. So you're saying when you say same type, you're talking about the same body structure, the same height, the same head,
everything,
the same eye, all of that? Is that what you're talking about?
Mostly it counts is the structure of the bird, the balance of the bird, because a roller, the only thing that makes it really good is if it's balanced in a smooth roll. If you have all those other qualities and it's not balanced, what do you get? You get a bird that starts ragdolling and you're, it's no good.
Right.
But you're missing out on what kind of qualities does it have? Is control what he has. That's very important.
That's important. Okay.
You know, but no, everybody wants everything. Everybody wants everything to roll. Today, they have so much frequency. There's actually too much.
Right.
Okay, too much. What does that cause? Birds can't work together. They can't get together. They're just constantly going over and over.
So that's what I see with a lot of guys. They say they want frequency. They want commitment, but actually the birds. You know, you might get 5, but you'll never get that big 10, 15, 20. You
You can get it, but it's like it's a luck shot.
Oh,
Now, the wind was good that day, and they got something like that. But a bird, they have to learn to kit first.
Right.
If you get a tight kit, then they can pretty well. If the fronts go, the ones behind it usually go off right away too.
Okay.
So you get better turns. Okay, you can't get a bird. These don't stop long enough that I see most of the birds don't stop long enough to get together to work together, for they can bust at one time. They're always going over.
So they can't slow down enough
Yeah, and
to
you
do the big roll.
It's hard to
because
fix.
they're too far out of shape. In other words.
They never get in shape because they always get burned out, tired, land on the pole. They get on the wire. The birds are always hanging out. You know, most of the guys don't have the time to fly them long enough to build their muscle, all the stamina stuff they need. If you can start real super early on those birds and fly heavily more than once a day, you could probably get a chance to get some of those to work out pretty good. But still, the percentage of the frequency is just way too much.
Okay.
See, that's the biggest problem. And you can't fix it when you have overly frequency. How are you going to fix it? What are you going to put
take it out of them?
No, once it's there, the next step is sooner or later they'll be parlors, can't get off the run.
So you got to get rid of them. And eventually, if you're trying to get a kid, a competition kid, what would be your opinion, or maybe some advice for some of the guys that are stuck in that rut where they got so much frequency, they're never going to get a good break. They got like what I call firecracker, a lot of action but no depth, no quality.
Well, they don't. Realistically, they don't even bust and break clean and come back together. They go every which way. They just expand. Okay. So if that's what you like, that's what you like. See, I can't sit there and tell them because it's what you like. That's what rollers are all about. Not what I like, not what you like. What everybody make what they like.
Right.
That's
that
the main
makes
thing.
sense. That makes
you know what I mean?
sense. Yeah.
That's what you like. But if you want to be flying in these big competitions, you can win and you can get lucky, just like it craps at Las Vegas. Okay?
Right.
But you can make it a lot better than that, where it's not like that. Because if you see the guys who really get the points and stuff, those birds work together.
Yeah.
They stop long enough where you get the turns, half turns, quarter turns.
And they're deep, and they're deeper. They're not just shallow. Yeah, that's right.
Like I say, realistically, to fly somebody, if you pit, let's say you pit up 12 birds that do nothing.
Right.
And you can pick at least 5 or 6 or 7 birds that do something. You could win most of these state flights already because that's all they get is quarter turns all the time.
Yeah.
They would have a better chance of working together because they have something to come back to. But when you have lots of frequencies going, what's your lead bird? Who are they going back to? What's he going to do? You know, they just can't until one burns out. Because I see a lot of guys get a lot of points. And it all goes to waste because why? They get DQ every time.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the guy who does the DQ is usually the guy who has a good headwind. The birds couldn't get back, and he made the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
All right,
but
great.
each their own. That's fine. That's great. You know.
I see what you're saying, and that's basically what I say. Fly the birds you like, but the thing that I notice in LA right now is that a lot of guys are really trying to get those competition kids. And it's harder than most people think, first of all. You know, you do need to have some good discipline, what I would say, commitment to flying them a certain time, and all those things are important. Now, let me ask you a question. How many years, and I'm not asking exact, but how long did you fly in competition? On and off?
I didn't start competition until maybe 80, I think it was 82 or 83. So
and then what's some of the clubs you flew with?
Well, most of it just with the MCRC, the USA Club, I can't think of it.
But I remember the MCRC in the mid '80s.
Yeah.
Those are the most sought after birds in Los Angeles.
Well, they want
the MCRC.
They liked a lot of Mike's birds, the clip-toe birds.
The clip-toe.
Okay,
remember those? Yeah.
I remember when those guys started. That was probably one of the best kits I ever seen. Was at Mike's house, and that was blue checkers. Every one of them birds.
White lights, just
every one of those birds rolled a whole kit of them, right? And what was amazing, they weren't like the perfect round circle. They were more like an egg shape. right? But it looked so beautiful, and we watched that kid just go, and it was gone. And then about
Oh,
2 weeks,
Lord.
he lost that whole kit. Maybe 2 weeks later, the Asian guys from Altadena,
Out to Dana.
they
Can't
strayed.
win.
Yeah, they strayed a bunch of those, and they went crazy all over the place to get those birds after that. Oh, look for the clip toes, you know. And some of those had the webbed toes on.
I remember those birds.
That's just a genetic trait in them. But
Yeah.
those were good birds.
Those are good. Yeah, because some ended up at Obi Cole's Pet Shop, which was down on Manchester, I guess close to Florence. And Obi Cole, when people found out that he had those clip-toe deals, his pet shop was crowded. They were in there. I need more clip-toes. And I remember those birds. And they threw that beautiful roll. So to get birds like that, what did Mike and Pete do? How was their breeding style?
Well, you always got to remember, back then, all the guys, they had better birds because those birds came from strains. What a strain is, okay? Not because everybody wants to say, well, we recorded this, 7th, 8th, and this, that, and this cot's all father to all these. Genes don't work like that. The strains don't work like they want to believe, okay? Most of those birds that people got, if you read the books, it tells the people at the time, if you like somebody's birds, buy all your birds from them because they had strains at that time. Okay, it's not. You can run around and buy all the best birds from somebody, pick them right out of the air. But if you don't have the same body structures and all that, you'll get a lot of good birds first. Mm-hmm. Little by little, they'll start dwindling apart. This one throwing this blood, that was one. Then pretty soon the balances start coming out. The different. Oh, this one's deep now. It came out of a short one, but the deep one's throwing the short stuff, and the short one's throwing the deep stuff, and the birdie never did nothing, throwing you excellent pigeons, so you don't know what you're going to get. That's what happens in the long run. Okay? Yeah. Because something comes out one color, and that color happens to be dominant, they all think that's the same bird. When if you understand genetics, if you take a cock and you put that bird on say 3 different hens, it only takes one of those hens to be dominant, and if you don't know your strain, your pigeons, okay, because it says this is a champion or this, that, you never bred enough, then you don't know your pigeon. That one hen right there could override that cock. Okay, if that would just say that's your foundation cock. Right. And because he's a certain dominant color, and everything comes out, you gotta assume that, oh, that's his stuff.
Right.
Okay, but it only takes that one of those hens to be dominant in more of the traits, because you can't get one to get all the traits.
Right.
Unless you have a neutral bird, and that's another whole story. Right. But anyway, when you have that, and then you put all those babies together, when they're all coming out and they coming out with his color, you're assuming that it's him.
It's him.
When it could be that hen dominated all those crosses. When you start making those brother sister matings and all the other stuff that goes in as cousins or whatever, how it works. Everybody hates to put brother and sister matings together. I've done it for generations and generations of generations. You feel my birds? Are they weak? Oh, they got muscles. That's just what happens within most people's strains. Right. There's a weakness there, but if you pay a lot of money for it, there can't be nothing wrong with it. See, that's the problem. That's what people believe, you know what I mean? Right. And it's not. You have to make a strain. A strain is from a pair of pigeons, okay? And you're dominating whatever's in that family of those 2 pigeons. And the only way you'll ever know is you have to have enough pairs to breed enough out there to see what you have. And it's just like a soup. If you know what you're putting in a soup, you can make it taste the same thing all the time.
Every time, yeah.
But if you just throwing in the same ingredients around in a circle, you have just a mess. What's coming out? But that's what I'm saying. If you use a pair, okay, you'll know if you need frequency, not frequent. Are they deep? Are they short? Are they what are the high percentage of what they're giving you?
Right.
Okay? And if you use a good cock and a good hen, you've already beat a lot of people. You know why? Because you're going to get good hens and good cocks, not just one bird.
Right,
you have a foundation pair, not a foundation bird.
Yeah,
That's another. That's just my theory.
No, but you know what though? In the 70s, it's a pet shop. It's gone now. It was on Vermont and Redondo Beach Boulevard. Hill's Pet Shop. You remember that one, right? And I remember one day I went in there and there was a guy who had some pedigree pinsons. They looked like the 272. They're red bars with a gray head, and I always got them in pairs. Like the pet shop guy, you couldn't go buy one. You had to buy a pair.
Yeah, that was correct.
And that was the way. And that's how they were strands. And that was the whole thing. So that's good. Now the one thing that people say is they don't do. That's brother and sister. Why do you think that individuals are scared to breed the brother. Don't answer that. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about why the taboo, what's such taboo on the brother and sister role, mating. You stay here. We'll be right back. Old School Roller Picture Show. Welcome back. Before we went to break, we were talking. We have our very distinguished friend Jim, and he's an excellent bird guy. Been doing birds for a nice long time, and has developed a lot of nice strains of birds. And so, Jim, when we went to break, we were talking about brother. You mentioned brother and sister mating. Now, a lot of guys, they won't agree with you. They'll actually say, don't put brother and sister together. But what has been your experience throughout your breeding, and why would you think that it would be good to put brother and sister? What does that do for you?
Okay, brother-sister mating. A lot of people think it's taboo. What is the difference realistically if you're putting a son back onto the mother or a daughter back onto the father? In the wildlife, a deer, all that, that's why you see actually clones of just about any species in life. If you see mallard ducks, they all look the same. If you see seagulls, they all look the same. Deers, they all look the same. Because it doesn't really, it's strong that survive. Okay, and that's what evolution goes forward and breeds a strain of something. We took a pigeon that was a wild rock pigeon,
Right.
okay, and everything came from that pigeon, from jacopins, the trumpeters, the rollers, to everything. But man, we can manipulate that because pigeons breed like rats.
Right.
So you can do it in a fast, short time. Okay, most other animals you can't do that,
Right,
because it
right.
takes years to get one species. Okay, a brother sister mating. I got generations after. That's all I ever do to have my breeders for when I need them. I've never had no problems. At the very beginning, when you first started out, yes, I had some problems because what's in there is in there. What will happen to a lot of the guys is, say a guy has a good pigeon.
Yeah.
Okay, it's one of his champions. The guys don't want to get the babies off of him because he wants to keep it, but he gets one that's a little bit sick.
Right.
Okay, and you can have that bird. So the guy takes that bird and he takes it home and he gets it up and molts out. It's a beautiful bird. Well, he doesn't inbreed that bird. What he does is he has an outcross to put it onto that. Okay, so he puts it on there. The vitality, stamina, all that good strength is all power is all there. He gets fantastic pigeons.
Right.
But when he starts to inbreed again, that bad trait right there impounds onto it. Can you if you breed enough of them, you can find good ones.
Right.
But most people don't. They breed 2 or 3 and they're onto something else. Even if they do the same thing, even if they get a champion from somebody else, they're going to put another champion on another champion when it has nothing to do with. It has to be the same type. It's not because this is a champion and that's a champion and this is the champion.
Right.
It has to be the same body structure and pretty well equal to everything that it does.
Right.
It's like when we were young. Oh, I'm going to put this 100-footer. I'm going to put a 25-footer on and make it a 125-footer.
Right.
I'm going to take a 75-footer. That's what we
remember
believe.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
Genes is the same thing. People want to believe that there's only like maybe I think there's 6 or 7 actually genes, and there's 3,000 and something chromosomes.
Yeah.
Okay, the chromosomes are what make it. The genes that most people are talking about, they want to, that's where like sex linking, colors, what the check patterns are, that kind of stuff, and that's a basic. But that ain't about the role and all the stuff that has to go behind all that, the characteristics of the bird, and then I can go on a list of things. It's the same with feeds. I go to the feeds, but we'll go back to brother and sister mating. I done it for generations after generations. I got strong, super healthy pigeons. You can feel the muscles in them.
oh wow.
Okay, there's no weakness there because that's already been bred out. See, a brother and sister, it's a natural nature.
So it's nothing wrong with brother and sister.
No.
It sounds like.
Why would it be? Because it actually has a value. Because if you breed, say you have a strain,
Right.
okay, and you get a mutation that comes out, and that bird's better than what you have, okay, and it comes out. We're looking because a lot of times the really good ones, you think, look how dorky bird that bird is. So first thing they do is they come back to the birds that they have. Okay, because that's straight and it produces more of what you dominated in what you want to call your strain family and stuff. Okay, and then they say it never produced itself. Well, you didn't put none of its brother and sister together, or it can produce it now and go forward. Evolution goes forward.
Never
doesn't
back.
go backwards.
Yeah,
You stay where you're at. Okay,
Right.
so if by you staying there, you're robbing yourself. I see that time after time when a brother or sister has. There's no problems with putting them together. You know, they're not hillbilly birds. You know what I mean?
right. I seen guys, and you taught me a lot about roller pigeons. And I started when I was 6, and I love flying birds. So I do have knowledge on that. But you know what? What I found out is when I talk with you and you explain things to me, first of all, it has to make sense in my mind. And I think that's what a lot of guys do. They don't give a chance to try to learn something. So, for the very first time, I went brother and sister. Because, after you said, Max, just put one pair in the cage and leave them. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna try it. And it's the best thing I ever did. The birds came out stronger. The eyes was clearer, richer. Everything, the feathers, the silkiness, everything was in the roll. The red and white I was telling you, he's doing 30 foot straight back.
See the difference right now. These guys can take a brother and sister mating because most 99% of their birds, even though they want to say these are inbred, they want to call it a line. Genetically, no. There's so many things in there. But if they put a pair together, okay, and they produce enough of them pigeons, okay, where they can at least have 5 to 10 pairs, and you throw kits out of that, you know what you're going to know? You're going to learn your birds.
Yeah.
You're going to know what you need, what you don't need. You can understand your pigeons. If you don't understand your pigeons, you're just breeding. I've seen tons. The best kid, wow! I mean, unbelievable kid. Out of the next round, you wouldn't give a nickel for it.
Yeah.
Because they're not selecting from a strain. They have a conglomerate. Look, you can have 2 bad pigeons, okay, and if they're matched and balanced right within their gene pool, you can get champion. But the worst thing you do is come back to those 2 pigeons.
But so those birds wouldn't be what would go back into the breeding stall.
Well, I wouldn't go back to these.
You can't
I'm
go
going
back
forward
into
with something I've seen with my own eyes.
there
Okay,
you go.
that's the most important thing. You cannot properly breed on somebody else's suggestion and say, "Oh, this is a good bird," because it's only as fast as the bird that you've ever seen. So if I said, "Oh, this is a champion," and maybe I had super good pigeon, or maybe I have crap, but they're the fastest I've ever seen. In my book, it's a champion.
Right.
Okay, so that's why I say it's more important to see the type of bird you like, and when you see that in the air, now you know what you're breeding for.
Right.
Okay, that's why you have to breed enough from something. If you take 1 pair of pigeons, and I hear it a million times, I ain't got time for that. What do you mean you got time? You getting out of rollers tomorrow? You know what I mean? But realistically, if you get a pair, guess what? You sit there and say, you don't start breeding them all together. You say, well, look, this is what's in them. I'm getting some kind of reds, I'm getting some kind of blue bars, I'm getting whatever you're getting in there. These go over here, these go over here, and these go over here. Because I'm telling you, if you breed enough, okay, of those, you might get a good strain. There's only a couple that's already strained.
Right,
You're going to get what you get.
Right.
But the difference is you'll know right away. You'll say, oh, these do this, these do that. Oh, this one came out red just like those, but it has that body type and does that. So there's one that has, because you didn't get robbed from the color and fooled you. See, that's a big important thing that people want to see. They think because something comes off of it, that's what it is. 3/4, I'm telling you guys right now,
What is it? What are
3/4, 7/8, and all that. You know what that means? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Zero.
It's either whose genes are stronger and whose ain't. And it could be both. And I'll give you an example. You can have a bird, one late developer and one early developer, right? That bird at the beginning can either pick up the early developer stuff right away, okay? And then later on you say, well, that's a pretty good bird. But it picks up the later developer's genes, and now it's too much for that bird to handle, and it's going to come down.
There you go.
It's because that's the way you're breeding the bird without realizing that. And then when you're getting birds from everybody, because it produces something, you assume that's what that bird's doing. Well, that bird might not even be doing that. It might have been its grandmother, its grandpa, or this and that. So you're assuming something that you see. That's how bad the birds are mixed up. It's not that there's not good line, but they've been turned around so much, you don't know what you're going to get from them. So they're not breeding to it. You have a neutral bird. Most people say, bird don't produce. It never produces something good, but it has big value because you can put it on something that does produce, and it's always going to produce that. And then you can have that in a family and keep that. It's the same thing. For example, say you have a champion, which you prefer real good. Now, if you had another pigeon, okay, that was we'll just say that bird kid beautiful. Like we'll just use it for just for you to understand a little bit better. Say it was a commie pigeon, okay? But it kidded beautiful. It always stood there, flew with the kid, did everything this way. There's no acrobatic abilities at all in that bird. Now, if you put that onto a champion pigeon, and it's the right body type, because you have to have that structure, you always got to remember that. But even if you didn't, okay, you would still get ones that rolled and ones that would have his body type, it wouldn't be worth the crap, or you get ones that roll and throw that bad body type. But the ones that you got, right, will be just like him because there's no acrobatic abilities to mess that up. Okay.
Oh,
That's just kind of give you a little bit more to that. But, you know, I'm trying to do a little video thing here. You got just as examples, okay?
Right.
You know.
So Jim, what you're saying is that a lot of guys make their mistake. They say, well, I got this champion and I got this champion, and so they don't have a stream. They put them together and they expect to get champions, but they don't know which is the dominant.
Yeah, but see, at the very beginning, you can get some of these, you can get some of these, you can get some mixtures that kind of, they don't roll good, they come out because that's what they are, okay? But if you keep playing the game, saying, okay, now since you did that, I'm going to keep this one, I'm going to keep this one, and you're going to put those together, right?
Right.
And because they're both good, but they're not the same body structure, you assume that these are really good, and they produce me a good one. But what happens later in the longer run when you keep playing that, not selecting the same type as the type, well, pretty soon this one's throwing that type, and that one's throwing this type, and they're throwing a lot of unbalanced birds. The next generation, because you're not keeping the same type to the same type.
Right.
You know, it's not about putting champion to champion unless they're the same type. They don't even have to be related. Okay. Here's what happens. Okay. If you have birds that have the same body structure, okay, and they're high-class pigeons, you can put those together because they have the same body, so they'll keep that nice balanced roll that you're looking at. So the only thing that makes a roller good because it's balanced.
Right.
Okay, but by those birds being, let's see, how would I put that? About losing my wood pattern.
No, keep it.
But the
way you explained it, I can see that that's something that good breeders do, and a lot of good breeders, not just you. Now, where did you get your just a synopsis? How did you get all this information on brothers?
reading books, okay, first what to do, not to do, okay. Well, that's not all that stuff was not true. Some was, some ain't, but see, that's what it boils down to. It's all the genetic gene pool that you're working with yourselves, okay. So, a brother and sister mating, it's no different than any other mating. Just because, mostly it's because people think around brother and sister as human beings, but these ain't human beings, okay?
Right.
It's what genes are there is what's there. You know, I mean, that's why you have to know your pigeons to make your pigeons better.
Right.
You can't just go around and buy all the great pigeons from everybody because all you do is you have a click pair or not a click pair, okay? And you get some out, and pretty soon you're going to put it on this other champion. I'm going to make them better. But then you just have a conglomerate when you start putting those together. It's not because you select to see this one bird is your strain.
Right.
Okay? It's not because any one of those other birds can have a higher dominance in the gene pool and overrides that. But you see it as a color and automatically believe that that's what that bird is.
So the color doesn't mean nothing. It's what bird dominates. So now you brought in a whole other bird.
Well, the color that has to do with whatever the strain. You know, like people, you can't. It's the same thing. Oh, you have to use the dark color birds checker. I've seen just as many roll downs of dark checkers, blue bars, every color you can think of. Whites, I've seen champions of whites and almonds and creams and everything. So, it's a lot of falsehood. What happens is, when you believe something and you're going to cross that, it's because that line actually needed an outcross because it had a lot of weaknesses in it and it bring back the vitality and stamina that they had. So automatically you assume that's what that did. Oh, it's a darker colors, it's harder feathering. I mean, I could name a million different birds in Africa, the parrot, white parrots, there's plenty other. They got strong, they fly thousands of miles, and they're white. Why were the pigeons white pigeons? You know, it's what you're straining. I've seen excellent whites, and I've seen excellent lousy
Every
whites,
color,
rolled down,
every
big,
color, right.
and I've seen just as many black, beautiful black checks, blue checks, red checks, whatever. Just as many of those rolled down. So you tell me why you have to do that. So, you know, a lot
So
of
that-
times,
so a lot of
that's what
that-
they
a
do.
lot of
I've seen it.
right.
I've tried it. I listen. You know, I ain't saying everybody's strain's different. That's what I'm saying. You have to learn your pigeon, and you can have great pigeons, but you have to learn your pigeon. Not I'm going to feed away Joe Blow to feed. Well, you don't have the same pigeons,
Right.
and you can't say it's the same strain. You just have a pedigree with the same number of a bird on there, but you never even bred enough. I don't know anybody even has a whole bunch of 20 birds flying that came out with the same bird.
Right.
No, I got 3 of these 10 years down the line, right?
Wow.
What do you got? Oh, this is myself. How many you got? That one, and that one. You know what I mean? And then it's the same as like the World Fly. This guy wins, and they'll run. And next year, everybody want to get that guy's birds. And then another guy wins, they'll run and they'll go get it. When every one of those guys that won, it's either they got lucky or the guys who won more than once. Those were older built kids.
built
Okay, they weren't like, oh, I bred those this year and I won. Okay, and
So they were built for the.
yeah, it's built for the fly.
For the fly.
5-year-old birds, 6-year-old, 3-year-old birds. You know,
right, that explains it.
Okay, and then they fly. They save those birds. Now all those birds are older. Okay, now they're not winning no more. They either sold them, all those birds are gone.
Oh, they're gone.
Okay, so now they're new ones selling. Oh, I'm retired. I'm not gonna fly no more. You know, same old stories. I've heard
Yeah,
it
same old
too
story.
many times.
So now, what I want to do, because I've seen your brothers and sisters breeding, and I understand that you have some whites that were clean leg, and and you had brought them out to be muffs, and some nice muffs
Yeah,
on top of that.
they were not grouse legged. They were pant legged. Okay,
Oh, right.
and by keep putting that a little more. Well, this is what I got over here. That's what came out of it.
And that's what we want to look at.
It
So,
took a few years.
so
You don't have to have muffs to start with. It just takes a lot of inbreeding, and you can get them. They'll come.
right, and that's what the
Because
guy
that's
said.
usually don't-
A lot of guys, they don't believe that you can take a clean leg or a pant leg bird, and by inbreeding, I want to say, right, a brother and sister, and then you can start bringing them out to muffs.
Common sense tells you if all the birds come from the wild blue-barred rock pigeon,
Yep.
every top notch, and like I said, every jacopin, everything you want to think, every kind of bird.
Came from the
Why
rock bird.
can't you? It's because if you breed forward, you get what you want, but you can't just go in and out, coming back to the same thing. You advance yourself, and pretty soon, instead of going forward with the brother and sister mating, where you have the genetic traits you want on both sides, so
Right,
on the cock
right,
and the hens,
right.
okay? And there's always a skip generation. That's another story they ain't ready for yet. But the skip generation, if you can get past that, then you start getting what you want. Every once in a while, like I say, you can put a pair together, and you can get the bird, wow, and I guarantee 99% of the time, it looks just like that, either the mother or the father. Okay, that was a freak that happened to get that.
Right.
But if you put the two birds together, brother and sister mating, they're carrying the bird that you want on both sides, even the male and the hen.
And the hen.
Okay, but if you breed enough of them, you will get what you want.
So that's why pigeons so fair.
Evolution goes forward. It
Yeah.
doesn't go backward.
Right, and that's why he would sell pairs, not just one bird.
Yeah, he would always sell something
pair
from
of
a
birds.
strain, a pair.
A strain.
Yeah.
A family.
And he would tell you, if you find somebody birds that you like, buy all your birds from him. Don't go buy one from him, one from him, one from him. Not that they weren't all good, but they're not meant for each other.
So you end up with a conglomerate.
Yeah. As I say, it's not that the pigeons aren't good, but you're making conglomerates. You're satisfied for the first year because you're going to get good ones and bad ones. But when you start crossing those together, they're babies. That's when this one throws what this one did, that throws what that did. So this is a real good one, man. This is a champion. But that doesn't produce for the crap. The coal you gave to your buddy down because you didn't want it, that's producing
That's
them
the
like
one
crazy.
smoking,
See,
yeah.
that's what happens in the long run.
Right.
You know?
All right, look.
This is not. How do you say? This is
not rocket
this is
science.
this is nature stuff. I mean, I didn't make these rules.
Right.
You know, I just paid attention enough to see what's really going on.
Right.
You know, Penson even had. I won't mention names, but there was a pair of pigeons that both those birds were no good, but they produced nothing but champions. But he never went back to that pair. He only went forward.
There it is.
Okay, see that's where you have to pay attention. Everybody has good pigeons, okay, but the problem with today is they mixed them too much. Okay, so it's not that you can't get it out of it, but if it's a lot easier to get out of starting with a pair, they keep adding more again. You're never gonna. You can't live long enough to make all the matings you can make. That's simple.
Wow.
You
That's
cannot
simple.
do that.
Right.
Okay, but if you start with two, You can separate this and separate. You'll know what you have if they're good or they're bad. If you get enough pairs that you can throw the kits out, the difference is you'll know if they're deep, you'll know if they're short, if they're high flyers, low flyers, they're frequent, non-frequent, if they're balanced, good percentages, high, good rollers. They come in, what months they'll come in. When you start feeding, guess what? The wings, all the wings will be either fat flights or skinny flights, but everything will fly at the same speeds, and they can work together. And saying, oh, these are fast flyers, these are slow flyers. See, all that comes into effect later. And then you think you're going to do with the feed. The feed doesn't make them roll. That you're just getting them in shape. People want to believe that the feed, oh, I'm cutting this down, this and that. When you can't feed the same, or even teaspoons of this and that, how do you do that when one's working, one pigeon's working, the other isn't? Okay, one's sitting a big bird and another one's a small bird.
Wow.
So a lot of stuff, it might work for somebody who has a strain of something like that, but not when you have a bunch of different stuff that comes out.
Right.
That's the problem. It's not that the people are wrong; they're just leaving out a lot of the stuff that's very important. Okay? It's not hard to develop a strain. It's just you got to start with a pair and not, oh, this is a good one and this is a good one and this one, because now you have a conglomerate.
So don't keep adding birds in. That's a
No.
no-no.
To make a strain, you have to delete everything that's bad and keep the dominant strain of what it's producing if they're good.
There
Okay?
you go.
See, and you won't even know because maybe you're satisfied with you want to start. See, that's why if you start with a good cock and a good hen, okay, you can get both. But if you start with one that's a good cock, the other a good hen, your percentage, you already screwed yourself. I hate to use that word, but that's what you're doing to yourself. Oh, I got all these good cocks, but the hens ain't that good. Or just vice versa, the hens are great, but the cocks ain't good. See, so but if you put the same type, because when it comes to the only bird, the roller, okay, if you don't have a balanced bird, you can have all the other traits. But if it ain't balanced, it's not going to roll smooth. And that's what you want. That's what you want, a pretty
Smooth in and smooth out.
Yeah. So and if you look at it, there's more than one type. It has to be balanced with the type that you see in there with your own eyes.
Right.
Okay. When that comes down, you find a bird just like that. How do you find that right body structure? A kid. That's why I said I could teach a kid, because I would tell a kid, when you see the bird type that you like in the air,
Right.
okay, when that comes down for 2 weeks, go grab that bird, put it in your hand and feel it. Never pick up any other bird.
Just that bird.
Just that bird.
Okay.
Okay, for about 2 weeks at least. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then when you're ready to select, go to your pigeon of the opposite sex and find the one that feels like that pigeon. You'll know right away. You'll know that. But if you keep picking up everywhere, you don't know nothing. That's it like that, or you'll do it like most people. Yeah, long kill, skinny kill, open up the wing, and you're splashing it, but you don't even know what you're doing.
Right.
There's a reason.
You're just doing that.
Okay. There's a reason for it. A shallow kill bird that people say is no good, that bird's the one that sets up a spin and a float roll. Okay? Then you have the deep kill bird. That's a bird who drops faster like a rock.
Right.
So if you look at a paper plate as a shallow, it's going to float, and a rock is going to drop. So the birds that are in between, if you want like the medium, you get both half and half of them.
Right.
Okay? But guess what? It still has to boil down to a balanced pigeon before it's any good.
Before it's any good.
Okay, now, this is for some of you guys who read. They couldn't understand, why does Penson take this bird, and all that bird, it sits, it tumbles, it does everything, okay? Because it has 100% control, and if you can put that attitude into a bird that rolls, you got a champion. Because it loves to do what it does. It's not fighting it. If you watch your pigeons, the good birds never fought it from the very beginning. Okay, it's not saying that you can't get birds that turn out good, but those birds that fight it all the time, really, half the time those never come in good. They're always trying to fight the roll and not want to roll. And ones that end up giving in a little bit, they turn out to be some pretty good rollers. But the bird who never fights that roll and likes to do it, he loves to do it, he always turns out to be a good roller.
Hello.
See? And that's about reading character, not how, oh, look at the ring around the eye, oh, look at the star burst, you're looking at, people sit there and talk and say, oh, look at the characteristics. The characteristics is what it's doing. Okay, the eye sign, what is an eye for? It's to see. Okay, they either see close or they're nearsighted, just like it is here. That's what I believe. A bird who goes out of the kit, how come he goes out of the kit and he's out now? But as soon as the kit gets close enough, he gets back into that kit until he rolls again, because he doesn't see them good enough until they get close enough, and he goes back. That's a bad trait you don't want to breed for, but that's probably why he does it, most likely.
Right. And you know what? I love that, because that's real talk, Jim.
And the only reason I'm saying that, because if you pay attention feeding your birds on the ground, okay, what I notice is sometimes there's a bird there, he'll pick at that feed and he misses a lot of feed before he can grab one. So as I tell you can't see it close. That's how I learned that. You know what I mean? I can go on a little, not just from paying attention to your bird.
To your bird.
From whatever genetics that you have in your bird. Okay.
Yeah.
If I tell anybody how to raise rollers, how to do, no, I'm just telling you how to make more of something that you like. Because I don't know what type of bird you like. I know people who love just tumblers. I know people who just love parlors. You know, I love pigeons. You know, I don't want to be better than nobody or anything like that. I just enjoy my bird. I want to know what makes them tick and why. It's as simple as that.
Well, let me ask you a question. You said something about, you know, the body shape. Now, did you happen to know Homer Kadira?
Yes, I did. Very good.
How long you know him? Just roughly.
Probably 30, 35.
Did you ever see him flying birds?
I've seen many birds. Great, fantastic pigeons.
And now how did he select his birds?
See, okay, Homer bred his bird like this. He bred for he flew every bird for at least 2 years.
Okay.
Okay, it had to be 100% safe, not breaking down, not hitting. Once in a while, maybe something might bump, but that's different from what people want to call a roll down.
Right.
Okay, he always put the same body structural type that he liked. He always kept them in a reasonable amount of range between 25 and 40 footers, within that small range.
Right.
Okay, he always used the same type to the same type. So that's what he kept. The only thing that happens if you do that all the time through the years is they build more and more vitality and stamina because they're not related at all. Okay?
Right.
So they get stronger and stronger, and sometimes they just take a lot longer to come in. But you can bring that out again if you want to use a little bit bird that's a little bit hotter and come back within what you're using, and you can do that.
You can do that.
But see, you can succeed different ways. But you have to know your pigeons. You have to have a standard so they follow, not because this guy's pigeon rolls great and this guy's okay. If they're completely different body structures, because there's not just one body structure.
Right.
Okay? There's a lot of beautiful birds that have different types of bodies, different types of rolls up there that are really nice.
So did Homer inbreed at all?
No, Homer, he only did that once for me one time. Most time, he didn't believe that inbreed. That was his style. And fantastic pigeon.
But he
But
went
guess
body
what?
shape to
He
body.
but he started with a guy who had strain, not conglomerate. See, there's a difference. He didn't go pick a bird from everybody out there. No, everybody can pick that birds from him.
Right.
See, there's a difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He flew some
So a
dynamic
lot of his
birds.
birds. See, when he first came out, he told me the story the first time he came. His Kansas City birds were the best. Okay, and that was a pair of birds he got from Smith. The guy had Smith stuff. Those were his best. And then those, when he got out after a while, he got ripped off. Somebody stole those pigeons. And then later on, he got birds from Dave Sanchez that goes back to the house and stuff.
Right.
Okay, so but those were strained. There's a big difference, you know, because I can remember times when people picked. Oh, I got a Pinson, and the other guy, I got Pinson too. Let's put them together. Well, you find out later this was Pinson show pigeons, and the other was a flying pigeons. But it's still not everybody else. They were Pinson stuff. Let's put them together.
Right.
See, today I don't hear anybody really talking numbers and tell you about the pigeon. They're always talking about the guy. This guy or that guy had this and that. When they had a lot. When they said, "Well, I got the Higgins stuff," or "I got this guy," which ones are the stuff?
Right.
You know, which line? If you want to call it a line.
A line.
Okay. A lot of times those are mixtures and crosses.
And Higgins switched his birds.
Well, he went from the red-headed hens all the time to other stuff.
Yeah,
but
he switched
but
them.
Most
So
of
what birds did you
most
get?
main birds he got. Guess where they went back to Homer?
They went back
until
to
they
Homer.
couldn't get no more.
Right. Until Homer said, "Enough's enough."
Well, it's just when you want to go around, you got to learn to breed your own.
Right.
Okay, and then he got good birds. Norm Reed, all those guys got good birds. You know, but how long can you sustain it? See, there's the trick. You get good birds from somebody, and it goes on for a couple of generations, and then your head swells up, and then what happens is you start losing.
You get the big head.
Well, you try so hard to get something, and it's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's just you try something and you can only appreciate something, okay, when you do it all yourself.
Yeah.
Then you really appreciate it. You can tell a story of a lot of things,
Right.
but only you know the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well,
that's
I
what it is.
remember back in the day, I got 8 pair from Homer, and I was flying, and people were wondering why my birds are so well. And I tell them they acted they didn't know who he was, and I just laugh at them. But all the birds were smoking. In fact, in '85 and '86, a good friend of mine won the World Fly with those birds that I bred from Homer, and he didn't even know what it was. I loaned him the birds. He flew them. He wanted to fly, but they didn't know where they went back. So the birds were good 35, 40-foot birds.
Look at it like this. Look how many youngster comes in. See, it's a little bit harder today because now they breed for nothing but frequency. Okay, the birds back then were completely different. Okay, those birds get together, wait. They weren't constantly frequent, so they can get together and bust.
Yeah.
If you had some bad ones or something, I got a roll down or something or this or that, and a little kid or something, you give them your calls because you're going for something. There's not even a high standard set anymore. But anyway, what a lot of the young kids, the first year that they get them from everybody else, because they become outcrosses when they were overly all high. Well, that guy kicks butt.
Right.
But as sooner or later, when they say, "Oh, I'll start putting this and breeding these back and making more of the family," but then there comes the roll downs and all the hot shot again. See, right back to what it was. But a long time he didn't do that at the beginning. Boy, he was there.
hot.
Yeah, wow,
good.
how did this guy do that?
Yeah.
See, those are the things that people don't want to hear. That
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's a shame because it's how they discount I hear guys talk about the longer cast bird. Now, my experience with that is they're the ones that throw the float. They throw the circle. That had to have what I want to say, you had to have a standard to call a champion. If he didn't roll that hole,
Well, that was the pen standard. Considerable deep, high speed, velocity, braking, and go straight back to the kid.
yeah, then that's a champion.
Yeah, but
Today
but
I
the
see
difference-
birds. Yeah.
They bred the copy birds today. See, that's what happened. That's why you'll get more ball rollers, okay? And you get some really nice ones, but a high percentage of they usually don't want to break clean because if they got that stiff tail, unless you got a real fine, long, smooth tail and straight, then they can come out of the nice roll and go right back up. But if they got a stiff tail, okay, most of them do, they'll have a fat white tail, okay? As soon as they put that tail out, they come out. It's like you put your hand in the car when they put it out there. The wind hits it so hard, it jerks them.
Yeah.
So you never get that smoothness
You
that
don't
wants
get
to go
that
up.
smooth roll.
I've bred tons of those just to find out to see that purpose reason. When I did something, I did it for a reason. I want to see why. And I didn't breed one or two. I bred a lot. Let's see if that's true. Okay? The reason I can say a lot of stuff isn't true that I see is because I didn't judge one strain of something and say, "Oh, yeah, that's what it does." Let me try a different strain, do the same stuff, and let's see if that same thing happens. So the things that happen the same tells me that's what nature does, and the things that are differently, that's just genetics. It's what into the class.
It's what it is.
So it's only common sense when you're breeding something. When you're bringing a bunch of mixtures of a bunch of different stuff, sometimes people get fooled because a bird can be dominant in the first generation. Okay, but when you start putting all those together in your line and it goes apart, or they put it on something else and it ain't even what they thought it was. Because you don't know your pigeon yet. You have to breed enough from something. Because even though you have a good pigeon, was it this pigeon that it's producing itself? Because that's what you want to bring back. Or is that bird producing what its mother was, its father was, or the combination of the two, or the reaching back? See, you don't know nothing.
Right.
You know?
But the argument today, Jim, is this: is that because we have the bird of prey, so many different predators, harassing the kids.
Yeah, but it's never going to go away.
Yeah, but they say so. You got like Homer, for example. You said he flew everything in 2 years, so he knew what he had, and he was able to have that luxury. And he was an older gentleman, a lot of patience. The guys today have no patience. I see them taking birds. They haven't even went through the double mode. They haven't went through the primary mode, and they're putting them back for stock birds. And so I don't understand that. How do you breed a bird that you haven't even seen flown in?
Because they never got to see what world champions are. See, look at us, all the guys. We got to see that because we didn't have all the hawk problems. We got to see. A lot of times when I hear guys say, "Wow, that's a good bird," stock it away. They actually should have had a whole bunch of those. Okay, but it's hard to do that today. So the illusion is that's the best that they have because realistically, a bird is still a youngster until it's 6 months old. Okay, now at 6 months, when everybody's logged on, it's starting to turn into a teenager now. Okay?
Yeah, just an adolescent teenager.
And then they have a lock for how much, and so a lot of that's when they mainly start seeing if they're going to be good or not. And you got most of those guys have those locked away, so they get a lot of faults since it was good when they locked it up sometimes.
Right.
So they believe that that's what it's going to be. But a bird changes a lot after that bone maul. A bird will change constantly until it's almost I'd say up to maybe 13 or 14 months. Okay, and then it still can change a little bit, but it's not actually an adult until it's 2 years old.
Right.
Okay, and then it is what it is.
Then it's what
Okay,
it is.
but that's what I'm saying. Genetically, you don't know because it can pick up the early developing stuff of a bird or late if it's not a strain. See, that's the difference on a strain again. You have early ones that come in or late develop. How high flyers, low flyers. See, all that mixture in there. You never see that if you didn't learn your pigeons what you have.
Right.
See? That's why it's so important to take a pair of pigeons, breed as many as you can, to get enough cocks and hens to produce something out, and then you can select and start making a strain.
Right.
But you can't just go around and get all these big birds and say, well, this bird he produces on this because that's what you want to believe, and you want to call that a strain.
Right.
You know, it's just you're getting lucky for a while, but I guarantee you, after those birds die, the first one, or you have what you have, and you start putting it together, it starts falling apart again. What happened? You know, oh, I'm trying something new. I'm doing something new. I've heard it all. I did it. That bird says I
All
did.
right. Well, look. All right. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to show you guys what my partner has bred here. You're gonna look at some white muffs, and maybe we'll see some really, really nice Andalusians. But look, you stay tuned to the old school roller pigeon show, and we'll be right back. We're gonna show you some dynamic birds, brother and sister mating. All right, you're back with Old School Roller Pigeon Show. We talked about how to breed birds, some of the things, and we talked about the brother and sister breeding. And James is one who bred these birds. He bred all these birds you see here. So Jim, tell me about the whites.
Okay, these whites originally started. I had one white that I got from Mike, a pure white, because I had no white in my line at the time. Okay, so I picked the bird directly out of the air. That's probably the only bird besides a blue checker I got from Mike about 20 years ago. Okay, I picked this white out of the air, beautiful roller, high velocity, beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. So I said, I used that bird and I put it on one of my Pollonas. Okay, and what I had is we were just pant-legged bird. Okay, no, nothing on the feet at all. And I told Jojo I was going to show Jojo Resendez that I could tell. I told him I could take these white ones, okay, and I'll show you how the muffs are usually dominant. That it'll take me a while, but I'll use a non-muff bird to make muffs, and this is what I got out of these. The muffs. It takes a long time because you got to go quite a few generations, but these generations of these whites are brothers and sister matings. At least 3 to 4 generations already. Okay. But there's your nice muff. There's no weakness filling.
And the bird is calm. You see that?
Yeah.
Let me pick
these
it up.
birds, these whites has never ever been in these
the
cages.
cage.
I never bring them out to show. Nobody does like that.
Now,
So
this
they
white
are-
right here is really beautiful. It's strong. It doesn't feel weak at all.
No, they ain't going to be. That's
It's really muscular. It
it's
feels
what you're
great.
in your line. Your gene is whatever it is what it's there. Okay,
Right.
you select and you get good ones, or you're going to get bad ones.
And
If
this
there's a
bird's
sickness
really
there,
great.
it was there. Okay.
And the kill goes straight back into the vent bone. That's nice. I like that bird. Really strong. It's not weak. So that
Build the
takes
next one
that.
for
that
yourself.
but look, let me pick it up real easy. And I'm not the owner, so. Oh yeah, this bird feels just the same.
They're going to feel the same because they are. That's the difference.
Same thing. So is that what you're talking about when you're talking about the same body structure?
Well, that's the main thing. If you want to keep these will roll. See, there's a
Okay.
difference because I use nothing but roll. When I use something, it's not I don't use a bird because it came out of somebody's roll. I seen it with my own eyes.
Right.
Okay, so I know that the roll. All the birds that I stock, they've been rolled. You know, they roll.
They grow. Right.
So after generations of generation, so when I use something, it doesn't make no difference what I use. I'll give you an example that most people wouldn't do. When I wanted to get my almonds, like I got these almonds right here.
Oh yeah. Let me pull one out. Stay there. I'm gonna put it on this bird right here. I'll give you $500 for this one. I like him that much. I got a buddy got some almonds, but his almonds don't come close to this. this bird right here is amazing.
Yeah, but I'll make better ones. I told you, I haven't even started.
You make them better than this?
Oh yeah, that's what I said. When I use this color,
Look at this bird.
This chocolate color right here.
Look at
onto
that
these
bird.
almonds, because these chocolates hold cream. This is the only bird here I did not breed. I bred that. Arnold bred that.
It's a nice
Okay,
bird.
but that's the color you need to go directly into here.
in
Unless you're
here.
going to use your reds or your bronze bars. Okay, they call them kites. Okay, but that's the color you get in. But if you use this color, you get really beautiful almonds.
Man, this is a beautiful bird, man. I love
Another
this bird.
strong
Look at the
pigeon.
color in this. And he's strong. I can barely hold him.
Okay, all inbreds that go back.
But they said you can't breed brother and sister. Every
they
guy I
always say
talk
that.
to says, "Oh, don't do that."
Hans Rockenbacher, read what he did. He always used brothers and sisters. It's because somebody who does so in nature. Nature's a natural thing out there. You think, oh, stop, that's my sister, or that's my brother.
Right.
No, whoever
They're talking about
survives, the
humans,
strong
but
survive.
then that don't apply to the bird.
And,
And here's another one. This one right here. Let me pull him out. Tell me about him because he is gorgeous.
like I say, I got a beautiful blue checkers and blue bars in there to make these guys look sick.
Oh, and he's muscular.
But as I say, but
This
look at the
bird
straight.
is all muscle. Oh, wow.
Nice
So
tail,
just to show, look at the
nice
tail
and
stand
high.
up high. This bird right here.
And these are not
Now
like
you're telling me,
competition
so these not competition, but they
roll.
roll.
No, these are actually deep. I like to watch deep birds.
Oh,
Good
right,
roll.
right,
That
these are
kind of-
deep.
so they're bred for different stuff. But these, I like the moss. I wanted to make some white ones. They just show JoJo. They got white. They got a little bit of pink bar on some of them.
Oh yeah, that one had a pink bar on it.
Yeah, this one does too.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah, look at him. Let me pull him out.
Okay, now you go to here, the darker colors that go back in there. See, that shows you that.
Oh, let me get
See,
him.
that shows you that the 88 blood was in there, even though I used a pure white one.
Right, but he had the 88 blood.
Yeah, that was the 88 that I used, a pure white one.
So the 88. When you say the 88,
Mike's 88. Those
Mike, that was the guy,
Mike the Russian.
Mike the Russian. He had the 88. So they with the pink bar. Everybody talks about those.
Well, see, those were, in my opinion, as many years as I knew Mike, that was for many years.
Right.
Okay, that it was always this white with the light pink bars with the orange golden eyes. Those were the best.
Golden eyes.
No, but he had a lot of good the other ones. Those were always turned out to be the better ones that I like. You know.
Right.
Like I say, everybody has their own what they like.
So what is that? Be a gravel eye then? That's a nice
That's
eye.
in between. Yeah, in between.
In between. Yeah, really nice.
See, you don't even see the real the coral eye.
Oh wow.
Because you'll have that ghost look in the
Now
eye.
here's another one. He looks the same, but he has a little different eye. Let me pull them out.
But they all, you know what the difference is? They all got nice eyes.
They all got a good eye. Yeah. This bird right here.
See, that,
Yeah. Now see, his eye looks a little better than the other one to me. But look. Look at that bird. Is that amazing or what?
When I bring out next time, if we get a chance, I'll bring out some rollers. And you look at the eyes on these. See, there's a different. They're clear eyes. That's what I mean. It's just they're nice and clean and smooth. There ain't none of that raggedy or none of that. Oh, see this. And you know, a good eye means you can see good.
there it is.
But you know, I got orange-eyed whites, white-eyed whites, bull-eyed whites. You know, all that stuff you can breed for any way you want.
Right,
It's your
right.
choice.
Right. Now,
Now,
what about this one? Now, this is a different color bird. It looks like a blue grizzle.
Yeah, that came out of the same stuff. It just there you go, somewhere in the background. Okay, that was in there. And that, like say,
Yeah. So this is a blue grizzle. Wouldn't you call that? Oh,
you know,
wow.
Look,
I'm gonna try to let the camera get the
if
eye.
I remember, I think that was when I could have had a white in there on its own. It made up the blue bar model.
Right.
So that's you're gonna get that.
There he is. Let's see if we can get that eye. This bird is fantastic. So this is from
That's
brother and sister, years of breeding. I don't feel nothing wrong with the bird. In fact, he feels stronger than my bird.
I just throw away, like I say.
So,
if
I
something-
mean,
I got rid of a lot of good birds and gave to certain guys because I don't need them. After I use them for certain stuff, like every year, I told you, every 5 years, I get rid of all my breeders, and I breed brother and sister matings
Right.
for my next
For your next start off.
5 years of what I'm going to go on.
Right.
And then I'll show you the rollers.
Right.
After years and years, generation brother, every time, every 5 years, well, it's gone. And the brother and sister, can I fly brother and sister mating? Yes. I get excellent. Can I cross them? Yeah. Sometimes you get even better out of the cross, but they're not meant to keep. Those are to fly to enjoy them, and if somebody wants to start a strain from there, then you can. Yeah, you can start a brand new line.
Strong.
But I got enough strains already. I
Look,
don't need to start a new one.
Another one right here. So James, you've bred a lot of birds, a lot of fantastic birds. All these are keepers. These are all.
That's
These
everybody's
are.
opinion. That's to say, everybody likes certain stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same as a show, you know. Like I said, I've had birds that show up, take first place, show up next week at somewhere else, doesn't even come in.
Don't come in.
So, you know, everybody likes something different, and that's okay. That's what it's all about. Yeah. What? If you won all the time, you wouldn't even want to win anymore. You get sick of it.
You get sick
You
of
know,
it.
I mean, everybody, that's what it's all about. It's looking at the face to see somebody get happy. Yeah, I won. Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like to see other people get happy too. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Makes
just
sense.
a pigeon. You know, it's just a
Well,
pigeon.
you
Value
know-
the human being a little bit more.
Right. Very good birds, though. I'm real impressed with these.
See, now here's another almond, a little bit different. But like I had some the really pretty color ones, but I gave those to Steve. Got some.
Okay.
I think Reggie got some of those through Steve, and then Oscar got some. There was a couple of guys that gave some of them.
Right.
Dennis had some, but he abused them.
Right. The creams. The almonds.
Yeah, the almond. Those were the other ones that were all colored like the real almonds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Now, these
so-
are a little bit different. These are black with the way you still got the red.
Woo!
You know,
Man, yeah.
Okay. When you first breed it, they're almost all white almost. Then next year there's a little bit more flecking. Then a little bit more from pretty soon, bam, like this. Takes about 3 years. Really.
To make.
Well, for them to mature out to become that color. They don't come out.
They don't come. All right, so we're right back. Now, last time we talked about, Jim was going to show us these Andalusians. They're unbelievable. Okay, what do we have in the first case, Jim?
Well, see, these are the Andalusian that I bred myself. Okay, nice pinkish color. See, I think that's the bottom of this, and the other one has a lot of white. It's a little bit more. Actually, it's a silverish white.
Yeah.
These are the different kind of Andalusian, like using certain colors to bring it out more dense. Now, see, now I bred this. This is a black Andalusian. See all the purple and greens? The whole bird's almost that color.
Yeah, it goes all the way under his
If the
chest.
sun was out, you would see it all over the wings, you see it on the tail and everything.
Everywhere. Wow.
And now this white one, that's an Andalusian. So that's why this is a pair right here. Watch what I get out of these on the Andalusian. See, everybody always wants to put the Andalusian that they came out with, so they always get the high percentage of what it came out of and wonder why they can't get the colors. I know guys have been doing this for years, right? And it's always coming out the same things all the time. Well, they keep coming back to what the guy developed a strain of a certain color, so you're going to get that. Because that's what it's dominant within that strain.
So you actually took the black with the white and
Yeah,
both
most people-
Andalusian.
Yeah, most people wouldn't do this.
So you're going to get the true Andalusian out of
Well,
this.
this is going to give me a completely different Andalusian.
Wow.
They're not going to give me the colors of the other Andalusians.
All right. Yeah.
So there's ways of doing it, and they got a real nice body type.
Holy yeah, that bird stands straight up on his toes.
This goes back to my black Kelowna, see?
Okay.
Okay? But I bred these specifically because they have their dark quality, high, look at the sheen on the black, really rich blacks.
Well, you know what, Jim? We're going to have to come back because I'm not satisfied. We're going to get some Andalusians out here. But look, thanks for tuning in to the Old School Roller Pigeon Show, where you always learn something if you just would keep your mind open. So we're with Jim, and thank you, Jim, for this interview.
Hey, and I ain't telling you guys how to raise nothing. I mean, everybody has their own thing that they like. You know, I'm just telling you, this is what I do. This is my theory why I believe in stuff.
Hello.
But,
It's a good theory,
that's
brother.
Just me. It's just,
Good theory.
It's just my theory, and I prove them to myself. I read the books, and I want to do it my way to see if it's true. Some things were, a lot of things weren't.
There you go.
Okay, so a lot of people repeat things without learning. Learn your rare birds, and you'll be farther ahead. You'll love it even more. Because these ain't birds I go and get from everybody. I bred these myself. I enjoy these because I bred them, not because
That's
I
right.
bought them from somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I say, nobody has to like them. I don't even care.
Right.
You know, this
Oh, I like them.
This is what I love.
I
just
love them.
pigeons.
These are birds.
I like to.
I
enjoy watching other people's birds.
I haven't seen birds like this anywhere. I haven't seen a silver Andalusian like that. I know guys been breeding them for 10, 15 years. They ain't got this.
Well, you got to use certain colors. So you got to breed for the color you need first.
Ah.
See, you can't just say, I'm going to assume I'm going to put this on there and get this. Because the coloring comes from the forward generation going forward again. and what's behind it, it can only use what it's there.
Ah.
But if you keep going back to something, you're going back to, it's like going back to a strain that's already a strain of something. And most people who do colors, they're bringing more, it's a strain of colors.
Right.
So they got a chance of getting colors more than acrobatic ability.
Right. Hey, you know, well,
Tell you
thanks a
what
lot,
it
bro.
is.
I appreciate it.
Anyway,
All right. Well, that's it. Then will we be back for more?
I thought you like that black.
Oh, that black. Ew.
Look how nice that bird, too.
Good God. This is it. So,
Ain't that a beauty?
this will win first place in the show. You know that, right?
Probably.
It would.
But it doesn't mean nothing.
Right. But it would. It'll get a ribbon.
This is our time and we shining, shining, we shining. This is our time and we shining. Stay grinding, keep climbing. Back